The pickup truck is more than a vehicle. It is an idea people wear like a uniform. It promises toughness, utility, and freedom, a rolling declaration that a good day's work can be hauled in the bed and driven home before sunset. But reputations grow, and sometimes they grow faster than reality. This film is a long look at the gap between the myth and the machine. Overrated is not a synonym for bad. It means belief has outrun proof, that marketing, nostalgia, and echo chamber praise have piled onto a platform until ordinary compromises look like betrayal. Plenty of the trucks on our list are decent, even beloved, yet the halo surrounding them makes shoppers forget rust, recalls, or repair bills. We are here to scrape the chrome from the brochure and talk about life after the sale. Think about how legends form. A handful of owners rack up staggering miles, and soon every example is presumed immortal. A viral clip shows a truck surviving a stunt, and suddenly the brand becomes folklore. Meanwhile, the stuff that actually matters day to day, payload with real options, frame coatings and salt states, transmission behavior and traffic, gets buried under slogans. That is how myth beats physics. We will examine 5 patterns. First, the romanticized classics, simple, loud, rust-hungry rigs that earn admiration on farms and trails but demand saint-like patience in modern commuting. Second, the power era, diesel torques and high-output badges that sold like thunder, while owners learned new vocabulary for EGR coolers, head gaskets, and aftertreatment. Third, the luxury wave, leather, screens, and chrome pretending to be capability, while payload numbers quietly shrink. Fourth, the spec sheet mirage. Transmissions with 10 gears that shift like a nervous squirrel, tow ratings possible only under lap conditions, and lifter or timing fixes that should have been engineering, not folklore. Finally, the electric illusions. Breathtaking acceleration wrapped around enormous mass, range that melts when a trailer hooks on, and charging math that forgets wind, grade, and winter. Here is the promise of this countdown. We will praise where praise is due, but we will not bend a knee to reputation. Every entry comes with a simple test. Does the real-world experience match the story people tell about the truck? If the answer is no, it belongs here. Some names will sting because some names are household words. That is fine. Truth does not need to be comfortable to be useful. A quick word about value. Resale price is not a character reference. It is a popularity contest. High demand can keep weak points hidden for years, especially when owners repeat mantras about reliability while quietly budgeting for known repairs. If a used example costs more because the badge is fashionable, that is not proof of excellence, it is proof of marketing. We will separate demand from durability, legend from ledger. Another word about use case. A truck is a tool, and tools make sense only in context. Daily commuting and stop-and-go traffic punishes gearboxes and exposes calibration sends. Mountain towing exposes cooling margins and brake sizing. Salt winters expose paint primers and frame coatings. If a design misses any of those realities, no amount of lifestyle branding can save the ownership experience. We will talk about how, where, and why the gaps appear. You will hear about the indestructible small pickups that were actually uncomfortable, crash-dated, and eager to corrode. You will hear about celebrated diesels that turned owners into part-time technicians. You will hear about luxury pickups that made cargo beds into props while charging luxury car money. And you will hear about new-age electric giants that forgot towing is a marathon, not a launch control demo. The point is not to sneer, the point is to measure. Why does any of this matter? Because buyers deserve clarity. A pickup is often the most expensive thing a household owns besides the house itself. If marketing writes checks the hardware cannot cash, families pay for it in downtime, depreciation, and stress. Honest expectations make better purchases. Honest purchases make happier owners. Happier owners stop shouting online and start enjoying the drive. So here's how to watch this film. If your favorite truck appears, breathe. We are not attacking your identity. We are challenging the legend that grew up around your machine. If your truck has worked for you, that's what counts. But if you're shopping, listen closely for the details owners learn the hard way. Corrosion campaigns, transmission service bulletins, emission hardware lifespans, and the quiet truth about payload once the leather glass roof and 22-inch wheels are installed. We love trucks. We love engines that pull, suspensions that settle with a load, and beds that earn their dents. We love clever packaging that hides a full-size spare and thoughtful tie-downs that don't slice ratchet straps. What we don't love is pretending that an emblem can rewrite thermodynamics. Steel, aluminum, chemistry, and code obey rules, not billboards. Over the next hour, we will count down 50 pickups whose reputations deserve recalibration. Some will be small, some will be heavy-duty, some will be electric. Each entry will explain the promise, the pattern of praise, and the reality owners report when the honeymoon ends. Consider this a field guide to expectations. What survives winters, what survives work, and what survives time. In the end, good trucks do not fear scrutiny. They invite it. They show their welds, share their maintenance schedules, and keep rolling when the forecast is ugly. The overrated ones fear context. They glow under showroom lights and fade beside a trailer scale, a corrosion inspection, or a long downhill grade. Our job is to bring the context back. I'm not here to convert anyone. I'm here to illuminate. If a legend survives the light, it has earned the respect. If it dims, good. Now you know. This is NextGear. This is your permission to question the brochure. The countdown starts now.
The legends that rusted. These are the icons that built the myth. The trucks everyone calls bulletproof, indestructible, forever machines. They earned their fame on farms, battlefields, and job sites. But as the decades rolled on, the story hardened into folklore, and folklore aged into gospel. Somewhere along the line, people stopped asking how well they actually hold up today. This section is about those legends, the ones whose reputations are stronger than their steel. Toyota pickup, 1980s to 1990s. The Toyota pickup, known worldwide as the Hilux, carries the kind of reputation usually reserved for superheroes. You can't kill it, they say. It'll run forever, they insist. And there's truth in that. Sort of. The Hilux was a triumph of simplicity. Small engines, body-on-frame strength, and almost no electronics to fail. It was built for survival, not comfort. But here's the hidden chapter of that legend. They survived because people constantly fixed them, not because they never broke. Owners rebuilt engines, patched frames, swapped clutches, replaced beds, all with cheap parts and endless patience. The Hilux wasn't indestructible, it was just repairable. Try daily driving one now and the nostalgia fades fast. The ride is punishing, the steering is vague, the crash protection non-existent. In cold climates, rust attacked faster than a body shop could respond. And yet prices for clean examples have ballooned into collector territory. That's not because they're practical, it's because they're mythical. The Hilux deserves respect, but not worship. Toyota Tacoma. If the Hilux was the blueprint, the Tacoma became the brand's statement, the smart man's truck. It offered Toyota's reliability wrapped in a slightly more civilized package. For many, it's the only mid-sized truck they'll ever consider. But underneath that badge loyalty lies a reality of recalls and compromises. The first and second generations both suffered severe frame rot issues, triggering massive buyback campaigns. Entire chassis were replaced under warranty. Later versions improved slightly, but remained cramped, underpowered, and overpriced. The Tacoma's legend is built not just on reliability, but on resale value, an endless echo chamber that reinforces itself. Buyers pay more because they think it's worth more, and it stays worth more because buyers keep paying more. That's not proof of quality. That's proof of market psychology. It's a solid truck. It's just not the superhero it's sold as. Toyota Tundra. Toyota's full-size entry came with a mission: dethrone Detroit. It had the horsepower, the bed length, the brawny looks. It even had the right badge for loyalists who wanted to say, "I'll take Toyota reliability, but American size." And for a while, it worked. The Tundra earned praise for its long-term dependability. But as the segment evolved, the Tundra didn't. Its 5.7-liter V8 was thirsty. Its 6-speed automatic felt ancient long before the competition moved to 8 and 10. And its interiors, though rugged, couldn't compete with Ford's innovation or Ram's refinement. Toyota fans defend it as simple, but simplicity isn't always a strength, not when it comes at the cost of progress. The Tundra became the truck that refused to grow up, and now it's coasting on the fumes of yesterday's reliability. Ford F-250, F-350 6.0 Power Stroke, 2003 to 2007. If there's a monument to disappointment in the diesel world, it's the 6.0 Power Stroke. On paper, it was a marvel. Advanced injection, big torque, cleaner emissions. In reality, it was a rolling test lab for expensive failures. EGR coolers clogged, oil coolers failed, head gaskets blew, and owners found themselves in a never-ending relationship with bulletproofing, a euphemism for spending thousands of dollars just to make the truck livable. What makes the 6.0 overrated isn't that it was bad, it's that so many owners still call it good. They defend it as if constant maintenance were a badge of honor. That's not toughness, that's coping. A great truck shouldn't need a survival guide. Ford F-250, F-350 6.4 Power Stroke, 2008 to 2010. You'd think Ford would learn its lesson, but the 6.4 came roaring in like a sequel nobody asked for. Twin turbos, more power, better refinement, and even more complexity. The result was another round of cracked pistons, DPF clogs, fuel dilution, and catastrophic repairs. It performed brilliantly when new, but the honeymoon ended quickly. Once the warranty expired, so did patience. By the time Ford replaced it with the 6.7, the damage to its reputation and to many owners' wallets was done. The 6.4 isn't just overrated, it's a reminder that power and reliability rarely share the same bed. Ram 1800 Eco Diesel, 2014 to 2016. When Ram announced the Eco Diesel, it sounded like a revolution, a full-size truck that could tow and get 28 mpg. For a brief moment, it worked. Then came the emission scandal, recalls, and software updates that crippled performance. Post-fix trucks ran rougher, used more DEF fluid, and suffered from sluggish throttle response. Maintenance costs rose, and resale values took a hit. The idea was ahead of its time, but the execution lagged behind. It's not the worst truck ever made, far from it, but it proves that ambition without durability is just marketing. Nissan Frontier, 2005 to 2010, automatic models. The mid-2000s Frontier is a fascinating contradiction, a truck beloved for its simplicity and yet cursed by one of the most avoidable design flaws in automotive history. A leaking radiator design allowed coolant to seep into the transmission cooler, turning transmission fluid into what mechanics dubbed strawberry milkshake. The result? Total transmission failure. Thousands of owners paid the price. Manual models escaped the issue, and later versions improved reliability, but the myth of indestructibility persisted. The truth? It's a fine truck, as long as you know exactly which years to avoid and which maintenance shortcuts to take. That's not indestructibility. That's vigilance disguised as luck. Chevy Silverado GMC Sierra, 2015 to 2019, 8-speed transmission. General Motors hyped the new 8-speed automatic as a masterpiece of efficiency and smoothness, but owners quickly discovered the opposite: a chronic torque converter's shudder, harsh shifting, and unpredictable behavior. Dealers replaced fluids, reflashed software, and issued service bulletins. Nothing fully cured the problem. Even trucks with low miles would start trembling at highway speeds. GM eventually introduced a new fluid formula and an updated transmission, but by then, the damage was done. These trucks aren't unreliable, but they're living proof that refinement can't be patched in later. When a brand new drivetrain becomes a meme, you know the hype train went too fast. Ford F-150 2017 to 2020 10-speed auto. The best-selling vehicle in America doesn't get a free pass. Ford's 10-speed auto, co-developed with GM, promised lightning-fast shifts and improved efficiency. In practice, it delivered inconsistent gear hunting, clunks, and hesitation that frustrated owners across the country. Complaints poured in, technical service bulletins followed, lawsuits were filed. Ford eventually revised calibrations, but many trucks kept their quirks. The 10-speed isn't a disaster, it's just not the revolution Ford sold it as. When the most popular truck on earth introduces a feature that needs an FAQ, the reputation curve starts bending downward. Ford F-150 3.5-liter EcoBoost, 2011 to 2016. Twin-turbo excitement met long-term reality. The 3.5 EcoBoost was meant to replace V8s with modern efficiency. For some, it did. But for early adopters, the list of issues grew fast. Timing chain stretch, cam phaser noise, moisture ingestion, and inconsistent fuel economy. It's still a great powertrain when sorted, but that's the key word: when. The early ones needed constant updates and careful maintenance. The promise of V8 power 4-cylinder efficiency often ended up as V8 thirst 4-cylinder repair bills. It's not a failure, it's a warning. Innovation isn't automatically progress. Look closely and you'll see the same thread running through all 10 of these: expectation versus execution. The Toyota trio, Pickup, Tacoma, and Tundra, are victims of brand worship, not data. Their reliability is real, but their perfection is myth. The Ford diesels prove that technology can outpace durability. GM's transmission troubles show that chasing refinement can backfire. And Nissan's Frontier reminds us that even simple trucks can stumble on bad design. Each one of these trucks taught the same painful lesson. Loyalty doesn't make mechanical flaws disappear. Why myths stick around? Because trucks are emotional purchases. They carry heritage, identity, and community. People defend their trucks like family because they are family. They've held memories, built businesses, and carried kids to their first day of school. So when someone points out flaws, it feels personal. That's why reputations rarely fade. A Toyota owner remembers the one that survived 300,000 miles, not the one that rusted out at 150,000 miles. A Ford fan recalls the truck that pulled a house off its foundation, not the one that needed a second mortgage for repairs. And so the myths keep growing. Word of mouth passed down like scripture, disconnected from the mechanical truth underneath. Reality check for modern buyers. If you're shopping for a used truck from this era, keep these rules in mind. Rust is real. Toyota frames, Ford bedsides, and GM rockers all suffered. Always inspect, don't assume. Complexity is not quality. More gears, turbos, or sensors don't automatically mean progress.
Price isn't proof. High resale value might reflect culture, not craftsmanship. Maintenance matters. A truck that's bulletproof only stays that way with constant care. Nostalgia is expensive. The myth adds dollars that physics can't justify. These are still good machines in many ways, but good is not flawless, and loyalty should never replace logic. Every truck in this first group has one thing in common. They earned their fame honestly, but they outlived their context. The Hilux built its legend in a world without crash tests or creature comforts. The Tacoma carried it into the suburbs, where it became jewelry for people who only haul kayaks. The Fords chased torque until they drowned in their own complexity, and the Silverados tried to smooth the ride until they lost the feel. Legends deserve respect, but respect means truth, not blind faith. These 10 trucks are proof that the bigger the myth, the harder it falls. And as we move into the next era, the performance-crazy 2000s and 2010s, the story gets even louder, faster, and more expensive. Because the next group didn't just promise strength, they promised domination. And as we'll see, domination has a price. If Section 1 was about legends that aged into myths, this next chapter is about ambition that outpaced reliability. This was the horsepower arms race. Bigger engines, higher tow ratings, more turbos, more gears, and more ways to go wrong. Manufacturers promised muscle car speed and tractor-trailer torque in the same breath, and buyers couldn't resist. But when the dust settled, many of these beasts proved that brute strength means nothing if the parts can't keep up. Ford F-150 SVT Raptor, first generation, 2010 to 2014. The original Raptor changed the conversation. It was the first mass-produced desert-ready off-road truck, the poster child for Baja dreams and social media glory. It looked like a monster, sounded like thunder, and jumped dunes on television commercials like a Hollywood stunt double. But take away the slow-motion shots and adrenaline music, and you start seeing the cost of the fantasy. Those massive tires, wide stance, and long travel suspension make it a nightmare in parking lots and city streets. Fuel economy was abysmal, single digits in mixed driving, and the early 6.2-liter engines, while powerful, were paired with a transmission that sometimes felt like it was guessing which gear to use. Then there's the price inflation. Used Raptors sell for absurd sums, driven by image more than substance. It's a great truck for 2% of owners who actually use it off-road, but 98% are using it for grocery runs. That's what makes it overrated, a spectacular tool sold to people who don't need the tool at all. Ram 2500-3500 Cummins, 2013-2018, DEF era. Few names command diesel respect like Cummins. For decades, it's been the choice of haulers, ranchers, and people who see trucks as long-term investments. But even legends stumble when emission systems and modern tech start crowding the engine bay. The DEF-era Cummins trucks are plagued with after-treatment headaches, clogged DPFs, failed sensors, and frequent regens that guzzle fuel. The engines themselves are stout, but everything attached to them became a minefield of expensive fixes. Add in transmission issues, especially the weaker 68 RFE behind the high-output diesels, and you've got a truck that demands a spreadsheet just to keep track of its quirks. Cummins still builds an incredible motor, but the modern emissions package around it turned reliability into roulette. Chevrolet Silverado A1500, GMC Sierra 1500, 2007-2013 AFM engines. Active fuel management, the technology meant to save fuel by shutting off cylinders during light load. On paper, it's genius. In practice, it's a slow leak into the repair bay. AFM engines are notorious for lifter collapse, oil consumption, and timing issues. What's worse, most owners don't even know their truck has it until they hear the lifter tick that marks the beginning of the end. GM fans still swear by these trucks' comfort and capability, but the AFM system aged like milk. Aftermarket delete kits became so common that they're practically a rite of passage. And yet, resale values remain high and reputation remains rock solid. That's the problem. A design flaw that widespread shouldn't get a free pass. Ford F-250, F-350 6.7-liter Power Stroke, early 2011 to 2014. After two public disasters, the 6.0 and 6.4, Ford's in-house 6.7 was supposed to be redemption. And in many ways it was. Smooth, powerful, refined, finally, a diesel that could compete without blowing itself apart. But early models weren't immune to teething pains. Turbo failures, fuel system contamination, and costly injector replacements made the first years rocky. Even though later updates turned it into a fantastic engine, early adopters paid the tuition fee for Ford's learning curve. The myth of the perfect Power Stroke is what makes it overrated. It eventually earned that title, but it wasn't born with it. Nissan Titan XD 2016 to 2020 5.0-liter Cummins diesel. On paper, this truck was genius. A middleweight between a half-ton and a heavy-duty with a real Cummins V8 under the hood. It promised towing muscle with everyday usability. Reality check? It never found its audience. The 5.0 Cummins was thirsty, underpowered for its size, and costly to maintain. Transmission tuning felt inconsistent, and the price pushed it too close to true HD trucks that could do more. Add to that the fact that Nissan struggled with dealer expertise for diesel maintenance, and you get a truck that confused both buyers and mechanics. Today, Titan XDs sit unloved on used lots, proof that middle ground ideas sometimes fall through the cracks.
Chevrolet Colorado ZR2 2017 to 2021 diesel. GM's midsize off-roader looked like a dream come true, compact, capable, and available with a torquey diesel. But the honeymoon didn't last. The Duramax 2.8L proved sensitive to fuel quality and maintenance, the DEF system was finicky, and parts availability wasn't great. Then came the ride quality complaints, stiff on-road, unsettled at highway speeds, and rougher than its specs suggested. It's fun off-road, sure, but daily driving it? Exhausting. The ZR2 is the poster child for a truck that looks unbeatable in marketing but wears you down in real life. It's capable, but it's not comfortable, affordable, or reliable enough to justify the hype. Ford F-150 Lightning 2022 to present. The electric revolution came to the truck world with a bang. Literally, if you've seen the torque numbers. Instant power, instant acceleration, zero emissions at the tailpipe. The future had arrived. Except physics didn't get the memo. Hook up a trailer, drive in cold weather, or push it hard off-road, and range drops by half or more. Charging infrastructure for towing routes is still a gamble, and payload eats into battery capacity faster than anyone wants to admit. It's a technological marvel, but not a practical work truck yet. The Lightning represents where trucks will go someday, but right now it's more of a beta test than a revolution. Rivian R1T 2022 to present. Slick design, spaceship acceleration, luxury materials. The Rivian R1T might be the most advanced pickup ever made, but underneath the tech lies the same problem every startup faces: growing pains, software glitches, charging inconsistencies, and repair wait times have plagued early owners. Add in a curb weight of over 7,000 pounds, and you realize that all this brilliance comes at a literal cost. The Rivian R1T is beautiful and bold, but its hype as the future of trucks is premature. Until infrastructure, repair networks, and range management catch up, it's a concept car wearing a license plate. Ram TRX 2021 to present. The TRX is chaos on four wheels, a supercharged V8 muscle truck with 702 horsepower. It's spectacular, it's addictive, and it's also ridiculous. At 6,800 pounds and with single-digit fuel economy, it's the definition of excess. Yes, it jumps dunes and demolishes dirt tracks, but for daily life, it's overkill wrapped in leather. The TRX is impressive engineering, but calling it a truck for the average buyer is like calling a dragster a commuter car. Its reputation as the ultimate pickup overshadows how absurd it is as a practical vehicle. GMC Hummer EV 2022 to present. The Hummer EV is not just a truck, it's a spectacle. Over 9,000 pounds, 1,000 horsepower, and crab walking suspension. It's as if someone dared engineers to make a parody of excess. And they did, brilliantly. But at what cost? Literally and figuratively. The range plummets with towing, the tires cost a fortune, and charging that battery pack can take hours on anything but a top-tier fast charger. It's a technological marvel, but one that exists more to make headlines than to haul plywood. The Hummer EV is the perfect bookend for this section, a machine that redefines power while forgetting purpose. Every one of these 10 trucks embodies the same mistake, the pursuit of more. More horsepower, more torque, more size, more spectacle, but not necessarily more usability. Ford's Raptors and TRXs gave us supercar numbers in vehicles meant to haul mulch. The modern diesels added layers of emissions complexity that even technicians dread. And the electric wave proved that innovation doesn't automatically solve old problems, it just creates new ones. The culture of the pickup truck changed from get the job done to show that you can. And that's when overrated stopped being an exception and became the rule. If you're considering any of these trucks, remember, power comes with trade-offs. High-output diesels need perfect maintenance, electric torque needs charging infrastructure, and supercharged beasts need owners willing to pay $200 every time they fill up. Owning one of these trucks isn't wrong, it's just not the same thing as believing the brochure. Admire the engineering, enjoy the noise, but understand that engineering doesn't make you invincible. These trucks represent the peak of ambition, but also the edge of reason. They remind us that just because something can be done doesn't mean it should be. And that's why they're overrated. They mistake spectacle for strength and performance for purpose. The next section will move us into a new battlefield, where comfort, luxury, and price tags started competing with torque and toughness. It's where pickup trucks stopped being tools entirely and became status symbols.
The Chrome Mirage. At some point in the 2010s, trucks stopped being just trucks. They became something else. Rolling luxury suites, tech showcases, suburban thrones. Chrome grills grew wider, leather got softer, and the sticker prices climbed into luxury car territory. But here's the catch. Capability didn't grow at the same rate. This is the age where truck design chased wealth, not work. An F-150 King Ranch with a heated steering wheel became more common than one with mud on its tires. Ram's interiors started winning awards usually reserved for German sedans. Chevrolet and GMC cranked out Denali's in high countries like jewelry pieces for people who liked the idea of toughness, just not the scratches that come with it. The result? Some of the most overrated trucks ever built, not because they were bad, but because they confused luxury for purpose. GMC Sierra Denali, 2014 to 2023. The Sierra Denali is the poster child of the luxury pickup trend. It wears a tuxedo to do yard work. Every inch of it screams premium, the chrome, the stitching, the digital displays. But peel back the layers and it's still just a Silverado with fancier trim and a bigger price tag. Denali buyers pay thousands more for the same frame, same engine, and same capabilities as lower trims. Yes, the interior is nicer. Yes, the suspension can be smoother. But when the badge costs as much as a small car, you start wondering what you're actually paying for. Function or flex. It's not a bad truck. It's a good truck sold under the illusion of exclusivity. And that illusion is exactly why it belongs here. Chevrolet's Silverado High Country, 2014 to 2022. The High Country is Chevrolet's version of the same story. Western luxury, city money. But as nice as the leather smells and the bronze trim shines, the mechanical reality is nearly identical to a mid-trim Silverado. The marketing sells cowboy grit and mountain views, what most live in office parking lots. Owners pay for tech and trim, not toughness. And while the Denali's chrome borders on gaudy, the High Country tries to sell restraint as refinement. But it's still a premium costume for a work truck that's forgotten how to sweat. Add to that GM's mixed record with transmission reliability during this era, and the gap between price and experience only widens. Ford F-150 Platinum, 2015 to 2022. By the time the Platinum arrived, Ford had turned the F-150 into a status symbol. Massaging seats, active noise cancellation, panoramic roofs, it was a luxury car wearing a bed. But with that came weight, cost, and complexity. The Platinum's aluminum body panels were an engineering achievement, but repairs were expensive. The electronic gizmos that impressed reviewers at launch became long-term liabilities for owners. and the truck's price ballooned into territory once reserved for high-end SUVs. It's a truck that looks like success, until you realize it costs nearly as much as one. Ram 1500 Limited, 2019 to present. If the Sierra Denali started the trend, the Ram 1500 Limited perfected it. No one expected a pickup to have quilted leather seats, a 12-inch touchscreen, and ambient lighting that could rival a luxury sedan. And that's exactly the problem. It became too good at being fancy. The Limited's air suspension smooths the ride but adds long-term maintenance costs. The giant screen looks great, but sometimes glitches or lags. And the extra chrome trim looks stunning for the first 6 months until road salt and UV lights start leaving their marks. It's easily one of the best modern trucks to drive, but it's also a victim of its own success. People talk about its comfort more than its capability, and that's how you know the balance tipped. Nissan Titan Platinum Reserve, 2017 to 2022. Nissan's Titan tried to join the luxury pickup club, but the party was already full. The Platinum Reserve Edition added upscale materials, two-tone paint, and more tech than any Titan before it. Unfortunately, it didn't fix the Titan's fundamental issues: mediocre towing, awkward ride, and poor fuel economy. At a time when Ram and Ford were refining their drivetrains and suspensions, Nissan was polishing chrome. The result was a truck that looked premium but drove average, and cost more than it should have. No surprise, the Titan line was discontinued. People weren't buying luxury without legitimacy. Honda Ridgeline 2017 to present. Here's the curveball. The Ridgeline is not a bad vehicle. In fact, it's one of the best cars you can buy with a bed. Smooth ride, efficient powertrain, innovative features like the in-bed trunk. It nails the lifestyle truck market. But here's the rub. It's not really a truck. The unibody platform limits towing, the suspension can't take real abuse, and the off-road ability stops where gravel turns to mud. The Ridgeline's hype comes from reviewers calling it the smart truck. But smart doesn't equal capable. It's perfect for light hauling and suburban errands, not heavy work, yet people compare it to F-150s and Silverados like it's a peer. It's not. And that's why it's overrated. It's excellent at pretending. Toyota Tundra Capstone, 2022 to present. The Capstone was Toyota's attempt to chase luxury buyers, a $75,000 halo truck loaded with chrome, wood trim, and tech. But underneath the high-end surface lies the same chassis and layout as lower trims. The twin-turbo hybrid powertrain is impressive, but real-world efficiency lags behind expectations. And while the interior looks rich, early reviews noted building consistencies and stiff ride quality. It's Toyota's most luxurious truck ever, but it also proves that Toyota's strength was never in decadence. The Capstone feels like a brand stretching itself thin, trying to outshine competitors on their turf instead of its own. Lincoln Blackwood, 2002. Before the Denali where Platinum existed, there was the Lincoln Blackwood, the original luxury pickup experiment. It was basically a Ford F-150 with carpet in the bed, a fake wood tailgate, and a price tag that made no sense. The Blackwood failed spectacularly, selling fewer than 3,500 units before being pulled. It couldn't tow or haul competitively, and the bed's fancy cover made it useless for actual work. It's now a cult curiosity, a truck that tried to be a limousine and ended up as a punchline. Yet collectors treat it like a rare gem, ignoring that it represented everything wrong with the luxury pickup mindset: image over integrity. Cadillac Escalade XT, 2002 to 2013. The Escalade XT took the same idea and actually survived for a decade. It shared bones with the Chevy Avalanche, but wrapped them in luxury leather and chrome. It was smoother, quieter, and more stylish than any truck of its time, but also more fragile. It couldn't tow much, it burned fuel like a yacht, and parts costs were absurd. The interior looked rich, but aged poorly under daily use. Still, the Escalade XT has fans who insist it was ahead of its time. Maybe, but being early isn't the same as being good. It was a suburban fashion statement, not a workhorse, and it blurred the line between truck and toy beyond recognition. Chevrolet Avalanche, 2002 to 2013. Before the Escalade XT got its badge, the Avalanche built the blueprint. It was versatile, a truck SUV hybrid that could carry passengers or plywood with the flip of a switch. It was clever, and that cleverness earned it a loyal following. But clever doesn't mean capable. The Avalanche's plastic-clad body panels faded and cracked, the midgate leaked, and its soft suspension made towing a wobbly affair. It became a truck for people who wanted options more than they wanted strength. By the time it ended production, the market had spoken. Versatility doesn't sell as well as honesty. The common thread here isn't failure, it's misalignment. Every one of these trucks promised more, but delivered different. More comfort, more gadgets, more style, but not more truck.
Luxury seduced the pickup segment, and for a while, it worked. Buyers loved the idea of a $70,000 vehicle that could tow and impress at a country club. But physics doesn't care about stitched leather or touchscreens. When you lift a heavy load, air suspension and chrome grills don't help. The Denali and High Country turned trucks into corporate jewelry. The Platinum and Limited made comfort a selling point for vehicles meant to get dirty. And the Ridgeline, it convinced people that softness was a virtue, until they tried to haul gravel. Because luxury feels good. For decades, trucks were judged by their toughness, a competition of noise, ride harshness, and simplicity. Then automakers realized there was money in comfort. When reviewers started saying, "rides like an SUV," it became a compliment. And when buyers started expecting heated seats and driver assist features, automakers obliged, at a price. But every step toward comfort was a step away from purpose. By the late 2019s, pickups were more about presentation than performance. Chrome became a shortcut to credibility. Buyers weren't asking, "what can it do?" They were asking, "how does it make me look?" If you're shopping in this segment, here's the truth. Luxury trucks depreciate faster. The more gadgets they have, the more they can break, and the faster their value drops once the warranty expires. Maintenance costs are brutal. Air suspensions, complex electronics, and specialty materials aren't cheap. Capability isn't higher. The payload and tow ratings are often lower because of all the luxury options. Comfort hides compromises. Softer suspensions and low-profile tires look great, but work terribly under stress. You're paying for branding. Denali, High Country, Platinum, different names, same chassis. There's nothing wrong with wanting comfort, but a real truck earns its worth through what it does, not what it wears. The Chrome Mirage era taught us that success can make a segment forget its roots. Pickups used to be tools, basic, honest, mechanical. Then they became symbols, luxury badges for people who wanted ruggedness without the rough edges. These 10 trucks defined that transformation. Some, like the Denali Unlimited, did it beautifully. Others, like the Blackwood and XT, became cautionary tales. But all of them share one truth. The farther a truck drifts from work, the closer it gets to fiction. And fiction, no matter how pretty, always costs more than it's worth.
The modern misfires. By the time the 2020s rolled in, the truck world had changed completely. What used to be about torque and toughness was now about touchscreen size and smartphone connectivity. Every manufacturer wanted a slice of the modern market. The tech-forward, image-conscious buyer who still needed a bed but expected luxury performance and eco-friendly credentials. On paper, it should have been a golden era. Instead, it became a decade of over-promising and under-delivering. Trucks that looked great, reviewed well on launch day, but crumbled under the weight of real-world ownership. This is the story of the trucks that had everything going for them except execution. Ford Maverick 2022 to present. The Ford Maverick landed like a meteor, a compact, affordable truck with hybrid efficiency, clever design, and a price tag that made full sizes look wasteful. What could go wrong? Well, plenty. The early Mavericks were plagued with recalls, electrical faults, and quality inconsistencies. Supply chain delays made parts hard to find, and dealer markups erased the affordability that made it so appealing in the first place. Owners reported rattles, leaks, and build misalignments that reminded everyone why budget trucks disappeared in the first place. It's still a clever concept, but its cult-like following treats it as the second coming of the Ranger. It's not, at least not yet. It's a fantastic idea that needs a few more years of polish before it deserves the crown it's already wearing. Hyundai Santa Cruz, 2022 to present. If the Maverick was clever, the Santa Cruz was artsy. Hyundai's adventure vehicle looks sharp, drives well, and feels more upscale. But while it's marketed as a truck, it's really a crossover with a box. Towing capacity is limited, off-road capability is nearly non-existent, and the bed is too short for anything serious. The Santa Cruz sells emotion, not function, and that's fine, except that Hyundai priced it against trucks that can actually do truck things. It's fun, stylish, and genuinely good to drive, but calling it a pickup stretches the truth thinner than its bedliner. Chevrolet Silverado EV 2024 to present. The electric revolution came to Chevrolet's doorstep, and their answer was complicated. The Silverado EV is technologically impressive, massive range, clever packaging, tons of torque, but it's also massive in every other sense, size, weight, and price. At over 8,000 pounds, it's less of a truck and more of a mobile substation. Charging takes forever unless you have industrial-grade power, and early production delays didn't help its reputation. GM promised a practical electric workhorse, but what rolled off the line was more of a concept car for early adopters. It's not that it's bad, it's just pretending to be accessible when it's clearly built for the top 1%. Toyota Tacoma 2024 redesign. The new Tacoma was one of the most hyped launches in recent truck history. Toyota fans expected perfection, bulletproof reliability, cutting-edge design, and legendary capability. Instead, they got an overcomplicated platform that traded old-school durability for tech bloat. The new Turbo 4 powertrain replaced the old V6, more efficient, yes, but less characterful. Early owners reported drivetrain lag, odd shift logic, and a noticeable drop in smoothness. Toyota added hybrid options, but complexity went up, and with it, potential repair costs. It's still a solid truck, but not the indestructible mountain goat it used to be. In chasing modernity, the Tacoma lost some of its soul. Jeep Gladiator, 2020 to present. Everyone wanted a Wrangler with a bed, until they actually bought one. The Gladiator had all the right ingredients: removable doors, open-air freedom, and off-road prowess. But its execution showed how hard it is to mix adventure with utility. The bed is too short for real work, the ride is jittery, and the turning radius rivals a bus. Add to that poor fuel economy and a high sticker price, and it becomes a lifestyle statement more than a truck. The Gladiator isn't terrible, it's just over-celebrated. It's a niche toy for people who love the idea of overlanding, not for anyone who actually hauls or tows. Tesla Cybertruck 2024 to present. Few vehicles in history have generated as much hype as the Cybertruck. It promised bulletproof stainless steel, unbreakable glass, and performance numbers that defied physics. And when it finally arrived, it kinda worked. Kinda. Yes, it's fast, powerful, and futuristic, but it's also impractical, weighty, and absurdly expensive. Visibility is poor, repairability is questionable, and build quality remains an open question mark. Tesla fans will defend it to the grave, but most owners quietly admit it's a handful in the real world. The Cybertruck is a rolling headline, a tech sculpture with tires. Ford Ranger 2019 to 2023. When Ford reintroduced the Ranger, fans rejoiced. Finally, a mid-sized pickup that could compete with the Tacoma and Colorado. But the reality was, it was solid, not spectacular. The single-engine choice limited appeal, the ride was harsh, and the interior lagged behind the competition. It felt like a truck designed for another decade, which makes sense since it basically was one adapted from global markets. The Ranger's hype came from nostalgia. Its actual execution was more rental fleet than revival. GMC Canyon AT4X 2023 to present. The Canyon AT4X wants to be the premium off-roader, and it nearly pulls it off. Until you look closer. It shares most of its guts with the Colorado ZR2, but with more leather and chrome. The problem is, you're paying nearly $70,000 for a mid-sized truck that still gets the same reliability questions as its cheaper sibling. It drives beautifully and looks rugged, but the price-to-performance ratio is way off. Ram 1500 e-Torque 2019 to 2023. Ram's mild hybrid e-Torque system was marketed as a revolutionary fuel saver. In reality, it delivered minor gains in economy and major headaches in reliability. Owners reported electrical issues, sensor malfunctions, and inconsistent stop-start performance. The rest of the truck was solid, especially the interior, but e-Torque became a gimmick that aged poorly. It's not catastrophic, but it proves a point. If a feature needs an explainer video to justify itself, it probably isn't essential. Chevrolet Silverado Trail Boss 2019 to 2022. The Trail Boss looked the part, lifted suspension, aggressive stance, and off-road branding, but it was mostly marketing. Mechanically, it was just a mildly tweaked Silverado with big tires. The added weight hurt fuel economy, the suspension wasn't much better than stock, and the price jump was unjustified. It's a good-looking truck that doesn't back up its image with capability. Modern trucks chase headlines. Every generation adds more power, more screens, more features, but fewer years of bulletproof dependability. Launch cycles move faster than long-term testing can keep up, so consumers become beta testers. Automakers used to brag about 20-year durability, now they brag about 0 to 60 times in Wi-Fi connectivity. That's not evolution, that's distraction. The Maverick, Santa Cruz, and Tacoma prove that technology can't mask quality control. The electric revolution, Silverado EV, Cybertruck, and Lightning, shows that ambition outpaces infrastructure. And everything in between, from Jeep Gladiator to Canyon, proves that image still sells better than substance. Today's truck buyer is bombarded with choice and confusion. Should they go hybrid, diesel, electric, gas? Do they need locking diffs or lane assist, air suspension or coil springs? Manufacturers thrive on this chaos because it pushes people up the price ladder, start at $40,000, end up at $75,000. The modern truck experience isn't about building what people need, it's about convincing them they need what's expensive. The result? Trucks that are fantastic for marketing, mediocre for living with. If there's one takeaway from the modern era, it's this: progress doesn't always mean improvement. Tech adds fragility. Every new feature is another future failure point. Efficiency adds complexity. Hybrid and turbo systems save fuel, but cost more to fix. Design adds distraction. Huge screens and luxury trims make trucks feel premium until they get scratched or glitch out. Marketing adds confusion. The more automakers promise, the harder it becomes to know what's actually real. Modern trucks are faster, safer, more comfortable, but they've lost the simplicity that made the classics beloved. Innovation is a pendulum. Swing too far forward, and you lose the core of what made something great in the first place. The modern misfires are proof that even with unlimited tech, unlimited power, and billion-dollar budgets, automakers can still miss the mark. The Maverick and Santa Cruz show how the quest for accessibility created fragile products. The Tacoma and Ranger reveal that nostalgia doesn't guarantee success. And the Cybertruck, Silverado EV, and Hummer EV show that the future, as bright as it looks, can still blind you. Progress is good, but only if it's grounded. And in the modern truck world, that grounding has never been shakier.
The forgotten fails. Not every overrated truck is loud, flashy, or overhyped in headlines. Some simply whispered their way into mediocrity, loved by a few, ignored by most, and remembered only by those who had to fix them. These are the trucks that carried big reputations from their badges, but left small marks on history. They weren't disasters, but they were disappointments. Products that coasted on brand loyalty instead of earning it. This section is about the quiet failures, the trucks that time has politely tried to forget. Dodge Dakota, 2005 to 2011, 3rd Gen. The Dakota was supposed to be the perfect in-between truck, bigger than a Ranger, smaller than a Ram, with V8 power. It promised the best of both worlds and delivered the compromises of both instead. The 3rd generation's design was awkward, the interior felt cheap, and the ride quality was more SUV than truck. Add in dismal fuel economy and unimpressive towing for its size, and you had a pickup that didn't know what it wanted to be. By the time it ended production, the midsize market had moved on, and the Dakota became the definition of forgotten. Its fan base still praises it as underrated, but let's be honest, there's a difference between underrated and overlooked for a reason. Mazda B Series, 1994 to 2009. For years, Mazda quietly rebadged Ford Rangers and sold them under its own badge. It wasn't a bad truck, it was just redundant. By the 2000s, the B Series offered nothing unique. Same engine, same frames, fewer buyers. Mazda's marketing tried to pitch it as sporty and youthful, but the design was bland and the price nearly identical to the Ford. It's one of those trucks you forget existed until you see one at a used lot covered in faded paint and stickers from the early 2000s. There's no hate for it, just apathy. And apathy might be the cruelest fate a vehicle can suffer. Isuzu I-Series, 2006 to 2008. If you blinked, you missed it. The Isuzu I-Series was basically a rebadged Chevy Colorado, sold in small numbers to keep Isuzu's North American dealers alive. It failed so quietly that most truck enthusiasts have never even seen one. Performance was unremarkable, styling was anonymous, and marketing was non-existent. It was neither cheap enough to tempt bargain hunters nor distinct enough to stand out. By 2008, Isuzu pulled out of the US market altogether, and the I-Series became a ghost. It's hard to call something overrated when it barely registered, but the few who tout it as a hidden gem are stretching nostalgia thin. Mitsubishi Raider, 2006 to 2009. The Raider was Mitsubishi's attempt to tap into the American truck craze by rebadging the Dodge Dakota. Everything that made the Dakota mediocre made the Raider irrelevant. Same clumsy size, same outdated interior, same lack of focus, but with a badge that confused more than it convinced. It sold poorly, disappeared fast, and left no legacy. If there's one lesson from the Raider, it's that you can't repackage mediocrity and call it innovation. Suzuki Equator, 2009 to 2012. The Equator was Suzuki's last stand in the US, a rebadged Nissan Frontier with a few tweaks. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't needed. At a time when the Frontier itself was struggling, Suzuki offered a copy that cost nearly the same. It failed to gain traction, sold in laughably small numbers, and vanished quietly when Suzuki left the American market. You'll occasionally hear someone online say it was a great truck nobody bought. No, it was an average truck nobody noticed. And that's worse. Lincoln MKT, 2006 to 2008. After the Blackwood fiasco, Lincoln decided to try again, this time with a real bed and less fake wood. The MKT was essentially a luxury F-150 wrapped in chrome and sold for thousands more. It looked sharp, and it sold decently for a couple years, but not enough to justify its existence. It never felt distinct from the Ford version beneath it. Buyers realized they could buy a fully loaded F-150 King Ranch for less money and get the same experience. The MKT was proof that luxury truck fatigue had already begun, even before most brands realized it. Dodge Ram 1500, 2002 to 2008. The early 2000s Ram 1500 is beloved for its design, the big trig front end, the bold stance, but under that style lived some of Dodge's worst mechanical reliability of the era.
Front-end components wore out prematurely, transmissions failed early and often, and interior plastics aged like milk in the sun. Yes, it looked cool, and yes, it had character, but beauty fades when repair bills pile up. Even today, these Rams are praised for their looks, but ask a mechanic how many have survived without major overhauls, and you'll get the real story. Chevrolet SSR, 2003 to 2006. The SSR is one of the most bizarre trucks ever made, a retro-styled convertible pickup with Corvette power, part roadster, part nostalgia trip. It was cool, it was loud, it was different, and it was utterly impractical. Tiny bed, limited visibility, sky-high price. It sold on novelty, not utility. GM treated it as a halo truck, but it became a rolling metaphor for excess, a vehicle that asked why not when it should have asked who for. Collectors like it now for its weirdness, but that doesn't erase how pointless it was when new. Hummer H2 SUT, 2005 to 2009. The H2 SUT looked like the ultimate power statement, part military fantasy, part luxury flex. It was enormous, loud, and guaranteed attention wherever it went. But as a truck, it was terrible. Payload and towing were mediocre, visibility was dreadful, and off-road performance lagged behind its image. It guzzled fuel faster than anything else on the market. Yet it became a pop culture symbol of excess, the celebrity truck for people who wanted to look unstoppable without ever leaving pavement. Time has not been kind to it. The H2 SUT aged into a caricature, a chrome-plated punchline of early 2000s indulgence. Ram 1500 TRX Final Edition 2024. Let's end with something modern, the TRX Final Edition. It's a 700 horsepower monster truck for the road, the last hurrah for the supercharged V8 era. It's also the poster child for everything wrong with performance truck marketing. At nearly $120,000, it's priced like a sports car and guzzles fuel like a battleship. It's spectacular on paper, but pointless in real life. It can jump dunes and demolish dirt tracks, but 99% of them will never see mud deeper than a puddle in a Whole Foods parking lot. It's not that the TRX is bad, it's magnificent engineering. It's just overrated because it's treated like something more than a toy. The Final Edition label gives it artificial mystique, but it's still a muscle truck built for headlines, not hard work. These 10 trucks all share the same quiet tragedy. They were born from ambition, not understanding. Some tried to copy competitors, some tried to chase trends, some tried to merge luxury and practicality and ended up with neither. The Dakota tried to be unique and lost its identity. The Isuzu, Mitsubishi, and Suzuki clones tried to survive by imitation and vanished. The MKT, H2 SUT, and SSR burned brightly and burned out faster. And the TRX Final Edition shows that the cycle never really ends. The hype just changes shape. History forgets these trucks not because they failed loudly, but because they failed softly. They didn't inspire anger, they inspired indifference. And in a world fueled by passion and loyalty, that's the worst fate of all.
Clearing the air on overrated trucks, what exactly makes a pickup truck overrated? The word overrated gets thrown around like confetti, but here it has a very specific meaning. It doesn't mean bad and it doesn't mean useless. It means the reputation exceeds the reality, that what people believe about the truck is louder, shinier, or tougher than what actually happens when you live with it. Overrated is about perception. It's the difference between earning respect and inheriting it. Isn't every truck overrated by someone and underrated by someone else? Absolutely. And that's what makes this conversation interesting. Truck culture is personal, tribal, and often nostalgic. Everyone's got that one pickup they swear by, the one that never let them down or the one that ran for 300,000 miles on bad oil and luck. And those stories matter. They're the backbone of why trucks have such mythology around them. But the problem starts when those stories harden into gospel and people stop looking at new data, new designs, and real-world evidence. A lot of the trucks in this video earned their legends honestly at first. Then, decades later, those legends became marketing copy. And the myths were so profitable that automakers never updated the story, they just kept reselling it.
Why do certain brands keep showing up in overrated lists? Because success breeds complacency. When a brand like Ford, Toyota, or Chevy dominates for long enough, it stops innovating for necessity and starts innovating for marketing. Instead of asking, how can we make this tougher, the question becomes, how can we make this look newer? That's why you see so many all-new trucks that ride worse, way more, and cost twice as much as the one they replace. Because the badge itself has become the product. Are modern trucks worse than older ones? Worse depends on what you value. Modern trucks are objectively better at many things: safety, comfort, technology, refinement, and power. But they're worse at the thing that made trucks legendary in the first place: durability through simplicity. Old trucks were crude but honest. They were predictable.
They had quirks, but you could live with them because they never pretended to be perfect. Modern trucks, on the other hand, are burdened with complexity. Turbocharging, emission systems, electronic, everything. The smallest glitch can light up your dashboard like a Christmas tree. The cost of parts and labor skyrocketed because you need laptops instead of wrenches. Why do people keep buying expensive luxury trucks if they're so impractical? Because image is intoxicating, and automakers have mastered the psychology of justified excess. Here's how it works. They start by showing you a commercial, a rugged man in a $75,000 pickup towing a mountain or pulling a plane, slow motion, dirt flying everywhere. Then they flash 15,000-pound towing capacity across the screen. What they don't show is that number only applies under perfect lab conditions with no passengers, half a tank, and the right trim package. Are extra trucks the future or just another hype bubble? Both. Electric trucks are the next step in evolution, but evolution doesn't happen without some awkward phases. They offer silent torque, instant acceleration, and futuristic design. But right now, they don't yet fit the lives of traditional truck owners. Range plummets when towing, charging infrastructure for trailers and heavy loads is thin, and the battery weight eats into payload like a parasite. We're in the early adopter phase where electric trucks make headlines more than they make sense. Will they improve? Definitely. But for now, electric trucks are the new luxury trucks. Aspirational, impressive, and slightly disconnected from the people who actually need a truck to work. Are hybrid trucks overrated too? Hybrid trucks are in the gray area. They make a lot of sense for people who use their trucks as daily commuters, smoother operation, lower fuel use, less idling waste, but they're also being oversold as silver bullets. The complexity of combining gas and electric systems means double the things to service, double the things to break, and often minimal fuel savings under load. If your truck spends most of its life towing or hauling, hybrid tech doesn't shine, it strains. The hybrid wave will eventually find balance, but right now it's stuck between trying to be efficient and try to prove itself in a segment that doesn't forgive fragility. Is it still possible to buy a simple, reliable truck today? It's getting harder every year. The closest thing to the old-school, straightforward truck today is something like a base-model Toyota Tacoma, Ford Maverick XL, or Ram Classic Tradesman. Low trims, fewer screens, more steel. But even those come with electronic assists, automatic transmissions, and complex emissions systems you can't avoid. Manufacturers don't make basic trucks anymore because the profit margins are too thin. They'd rather sell you a $60,000 luxury trim than a $23,000 work truck, even if both have the same frame and drivetrain underneath. The demand for simplicity still exists, but it's drowned out by the demand for comfort. Why do so many truck fans argue online about brand loyalty? Because for many people, their truck isn't just a vehicle, it's part of their identity. It's tied to memories, jobs, family, pride. If someone grew up with their dad's Chevy Silverado that never quit, they're going to defend GM like it's family. If someone's F-150 towed their first camper across the country, they'll never believe it's overrated. Truck loyalty is emotional before it's logical. That's why arguments about specs and facts rarely change anyone's mind. They're defending nostalgia, not numbers. What's the biggest mistake truck buyers make today? 2 words: buying aspirationally. People buy trucks for the life they imagine they'll have, not the one they actually live. They picture towing boats every weekend, driving through canyons, or conquering snowstorms, when in reality, 95% of their mileage will be suburban commutes, grocery runs, and the occasional trip to the hardware store. Manufacturers know this, and they market accordingly. They sell potential, not practicality. And that's how people end up with 7,000-pound trucks for 150-pound tasks. The biggest mistake is confusing need with want. Trucks are tools. The best one is the one that fits your life, not the one that fits your fantasy. Are there any trucks that deserve their hype? Yes, a few. The Toyota Hilux Global, the older pre-2010 Tacomas, early Duramax diesels, the 1990s F-250s, and certain generations of the Ram HD lineup all earned their reputations honestly. They were overbuilt, simple, and honest about their limits. They're not perfect, but they lived up to what they claimed. The difference is that those trucks built reputations by surviving, not by being marketed as survivors. They let time do the talking. That's the rarest thing in today's market: patience. Everything now is the best ever, most powerful ever, most capable ever. But legends aren't made by slogans. They're made by decades of reliability. So, what's the moral of this whole story? That love for trucks and skepticism toward hype can coexist. You can love the look, the sound, the history, and still hold the industry accountable for cutting corners, overcharging, or overpromising. Being critical doesn't make you a hater. It makes you an informed buyer. Trucks aren't sacred. They're machines. And the best machines are the ones that work quietly, efficiently, and honestly. That's what separates legendary from overrated.
In the end, most overrated trucks share the same flaw. They started chasing image instead of purpose. What used to be tools built for work have turned into status symbols wrapped in chrome and marketing hype. But a real truck doesn't need a commercial to prove itself. It earns respect through reliability, not reputation. So when you're choosing your next pickup, forget the story and the badge. Buy the one that shows up, works hard, and lasts.